Hello, we're well kept. Thanks for watching Jameson on the Rocks.
Yeah, baby!
Yoink.
All right, I think we're good. Let me make sure.
We're going to be clipping.
Elijah actually does all the talking.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, this is just another Elijah Johnston.
Sunglasses on, just like...
All right, you guys ready to knock into this thing?
Yeah, dude.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Jameson on the Rocks podcast. Today we are doing an outside of the office episode at the WBAZ Studio. So glad to have you guys. How are you?
Hey, man, we're doing good. It's so good to finally be on the show, man.
Yeah, man, I'm stoked. I was really subdued answer there. You got real quiet.
No, I know. I'm pretending like I have headphones on, and they can.
Do
hear
you
me
want
really
headphones?
Well. No, I think we're good.
We're good. We're fine.
You're in charge here, man. This is your show now.
Dude, it's all good. I'm down. We
Love
should
it,
be
man.
All taken care of. But yeah, dude, super stoked to finally be able to hang with you.
Yeah, man. Just for a little reference, I messaged Tommy maybe the first month of the podcast. What was it, 9 months ago?
Long time ago. Yeah.
You're a busy bee though. I'm gonna let it slide.
It
but
was always literally in the back of my head. It's like I gotta text him, and I finally did.
I love it, man.
Finally
Left me
did.
on red for 9 damn months, bro. Come on, bro. Elijah. And then this guy says, you know what? He messaged me back 9 months later. He says, hey, I'll do it. Let's do it at my place.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
I love it, man. I'm very. I was excited because like you get used to playing on the home field. You know, you just want to see how you'll do away. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
Now I'm outside of the safety net. Let's see what happens. So. Tell me a little bit. I don't even think I introduced you guys. This is Tommy Trautwein and Elijah Johnston. Together, they are well kept, correct?
What's going on? That's correct.
So tell me, I've already heard Elijah's story, so tell me how you got started making music and all that good stuff. What'd you start playing? When? How?
Good question, dude. So started playing around I guess I kind of fell into it during whenever Rock Band came out.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Good times, man.
So kind of I guess it must have been 6th grade, 5th grade, where I was kind of starting playing Rock Band drums.
Yeah.
And so kind of was super into Blink-182 and and Sublime and Chili Peppers and Nirvana and all that stuff. So I was hitting drums, hitting them really fast, really hard from a young age, and kind of did that till about 8th grade when I started learning guitar.
Word.
Then kind of found guitar. I found is a lot easier to you know, your parents don't hate you for playing it. Well, they do when you're first learning, but you know, you're able to kind of take it with you wherever you go, or you know, be quiet and be more a little bit maybe what I thought then more expressive and what I needed at that point, because I was playing drums. I was you know, as a 6th grader who had learned the whole Blink-182 catalog, I'm kind of bored. What else can I do now? And so started playing guitar and really liked it, and also found that there was, you know, it's easier to share with other people. And so I found some other friends who played, and kind of some of my best friends from high school still today. We kind of started this band in high school. And
Which band is that?
It was called 28 If, which was the license plate on the back of the Abbey Road.
28 IF?
28 IF,
oh,
yeah.
Nice.
And it's Paul McCartney would be 28 if he were alive when Abbey Road came out. Because he died. Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit. It's a whole other episode. Elijah's our conspiracy theorist. But yeah, we kind of just played restaurants, played covers, played parties, and it was just kind of had fun. But it was the first time we started writing songs. And
how'd you like that? The whole getting into it, and you're playing guitar in this band or drums?
I was playing guitar in this band and singing. And then we my buddy Peter played drums, and he was a drumline guy, and so he was great in the kit. Yeah. And then we forced our other best friend to learn how to play bass, which was hilarious. He had never played an instrument. He played piano. Yeah, but
that tends to happen to bass players.
Yeah,
it's hey man, hey, you play bass.
We want you to hang out with us, so go and play bass.
Yeah,
that's kind of how it went, and it was great. And
so when did you start singing though?
Probably around when I first started playing guitar. I was bold. It was sending. It was I just I guess didn't totally care about how I sounded. And,
yeah.
Well, actually, when I was in this, I was in a band before, or just not even a band, or just playing with the buddies, and I would sing because our singer got kicked out of the band because he had bad grades in 6th grade. That's how it worked back then. And so I started singing from behind the kit, and you know.
How'd you like that?
I've
always the singing drummer things.
It was fun. It was, you know, I loved it at the time just because it was just I don't know, I was able to play Blink-182 songs really fast and also sing, and it was I could do it somehow, and it was very weird. It's probably, looking back at it, I would not want to see a video right now. But
what does it take to get a video? I want to see one.
No, gosh, dude, they're out there somewhere. But yeah, so did that, and it was, and kind of started like, I like liked singing better than I like thought I was like good at it. I was just like, oh, this is like fun. This is great. And so by 8th grade, I was like, I was writing songs or trying to write songs for
Word. Okay, well, that's actually
girlfriends.
honestly pretty early.
Dude, I wanted to talk to you about this.
What you got?
I was learning Your Guardian Angel by Red Jumpsuit Apparatus that you just played with, dude.
They're pretty damn good live, man.
Dude,
they still got it, man.
That was awesome to see that.
Pretty cool, yeah.
That was awesome to see you guys got that bill.
Yeah, I appreciate that,
But,
man.
yeah, dude, you kind of just started playing, and I was actually, my family's a whole baseball family, so it's kind of, was played baseball all my life, too.
I've seen a baseball theme throughout you guys' stuff,
yeah,
definitely,
dude.
from here to there.
Yeah, my dad played professionally, and
That's
my
crazy, man.
grandfather did, uncle, and my cousin now does, and my little brother is making his way, and so
you're the only one out of the game at this point.
I was in the game in high school. I was doing all the travel ball stuff, but then kind of started playing in bands and like making money and like making money, playing like grad parties and like pool parties, and
3-hour cover gig kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, this is like fun, and then we started writing songs and like kind of recording them with like, with the focus right, and like just putting them down. And I was like just such a fun thing. I was like, I like this so much better than baseball. And
a lot less running.
So yeah, a lot less running. And so
when you said you started on the drums. When you translated over to guitar and singing, what was that like? Were you like glad that you learned how to play drums because you understood it and you could articulate things, or was it like
definitely? It's, you always hear it's like drum. It's like it's hard to teach rhythm kind of thing.
You either got it or you don't.
I can't wait to like hear the audio and we're all like exploding.
I can't wait.
Up. I think it kind of just helped. I still had the same struggles with strumming patterns
learning and
stuff, but maybe just helped me get my mind wrapped around it too. And even looking back at it now, I wouldn't even call myself a crazy good drummer back then. Just kind of like love to do it. And
that's one thing I noticed about both of you guys. Both of you guys can pretty much play anything, right? Can you play drums?
I play a little bit of drums.
Yeah. You can hold a beat.
There's all the like music I made pre like living in Athens, like all the what I call like the iPhone music was all pretty much me on the drums. And
so I guess that's a good skill to have when you're like producing and just like in general, because you can understand. Like I don't play drums, so I don't know how to tell my drummer how to do stuff. You get what I mean?
Right. The language is definitely a thing that takes time, and to be like the whole so you gotta go ba da boom 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 bang bang and then ba 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 ba.
I find myself doing a lot of this, man. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't help him any. You know what I mean? So I've always wondered about that. Yeah. But so anyways, you keep moving along. You're playing the cover gigs, getting your feet wet, and then you move to Athens, I assume, at some point, right?
So I guess in kind of decided I didn't want to play baseball around senior high school, and then kind of just started like writing some more songs, and just kind of, I don't know. I wasn't totally like I'm gonna be a musician. Or anything. I don't know. I was kind of just going with the flow. I had never thought ahead ever, and it was just like, all right,
ever.
Didn't think I was going to get an EGA.
And,
just because it's really hard to get to a high school that was really, really top of the state kind of stuff, and so like everybody tries to go to EGA, and so I was just like, oh, I'm not going to go to EGA, and then somehow got in, and then I was like, then I kind of started learning about all the cool stuff about Athens, and I'd already been like one of my favorite bands were like Neutral Milk Hotel and stuff, and so like just hearing about like all the cool bands that come out of Athens, and just like just the town, and came up and visited a couple times, and I was like, I'm really
got this kind of like
really stoked to be here.
It's got this like folklore to it. It's like Athens,
right,
like even when you tell people you're from here, like when you go to Augusta or something, they're like, wow, you guys are a band in Athens, you must be good, but they don't know,
Exactly. No, hey man,
they don't know we suck.
They don't know yet. Wait till we start playing, man.
Oh man, so that was came to UGA, was just like, oh, I'm just gonna do UGA, and like,
what are you majoring in?
So I graduated last year. Majored
Congrats,
in,
by the way.
Thank you. It's crazy. It's weird.
So weird.
Majored in psychology, and then did the music business certificate. So
sorry, I'm not talking to the mic. How'd you like psychology? Because I've always wondered, like, I've been like, man, I should take some psychology class so I can really get the hand up on like why things are the way they are. Do you know what I mean?
It's
like why people do what they do and stuff.
I'm kind of I've been always preaching that like people are always hung up about majors and stuff. It's like in undergrad you're not really gonna learn much but
the
vocab,
weirdest.
and you're gonna be human, and you're gonna be a student, and so it's probably gonna you're gonna cram, and then But I enjoyed every class I was in. Read a lot of cool books and articles and stuff, and enjoyed every class I was in. And that was kind of like what school. I was kind of college. I was like, I don't know what I want to do. I was one class away from being like a marine sciences minor. And
wow.
Originally, like the three things I was like, all right, I want to be going to like paleontology and like geology and like discover dinosaur bones and stuff,
like Ross,
or be on Shark Week, or and then the real thing was like, okay, I'll do psychology and like I know it's like it's in everything, and
it is, isn't it? That's really well put, because like I don't think people realize, or even I didn't realize till I graduate. It's like you think like, oh, I'm gonna major in this, and I'm gonna be like immersed in it for 4 years.
No, right.
And then like it felt like when I graduated, I was like, damn, like I barely like got into that. You know what I mean?
And you only start really diving into the classes the last 2 years,
last
if
semester
that.
Really.
And so we can talk about college later, but
you didn't come on here to talk about college. What are you doing here, man?
Yes, glad I graduated. Enjoyed every psych class. Yeah, and there's things that I learned that are very helpful and very expand your
interesting.
Your
so when you're in college, what bands are you in? I know Jester, of course. Is there anything before that?
It was I just kind of did some solo stuff.
Yeah, I know.
I would play events, like college events, sorority, fraternity events, and then I would play, like charity stuff. And so I found myself playing solo at Nucci Space a couple times.
Word.
And which is funny, that's how I met like the Wonder Wild guys. That's how I met my buddy Shane T. That's kind of how I met like this older group of like my then and still now like favorite Athens bands.
Word,
I was like, whoa, this is super cool. This is like a different thing that I hadn't been.
And you're playing just acoustic and singing?
I was playing just acoustic or electric and singing, and just like playing like kind of this song, like some songs I had like just written, and I wonder if any of them. I guess maybe one of them, I Am, would have been one.
I love I Am.
That I would have been playing then. Yeah? That's the oldest one.
I feel like I Am is a sleeper on the record.
Dude, I thought
I Am is really good. Yeah,
that one was like that was like the music I was listening to going to college. I was like, and deciding songs for the record.
I'd say it's the most like alt rocky of the whole record. Wouldn't you say?
Super. It's like almost pop punk kind of thing.
I like it,
but like started playing and myself. Just like I was like kind of like actually the first semester of freshman, probably the first year freshman year.
That's pretty early. You had it figured out pretty soon.
Yeah, dude. I had a pretty good like. I had people who were like involved in like clubs and stuff and fraternities and stuff, and so they kind of were able to throw me on these cool charity things.
That's nice.
And like people like were like, oh, hey, you play, like you want to play this thing? So it was that was still kind of mostly covers and stuff like those events, but was able to kind of do a couple venues, and I played the Live Wire. My band from high school actually played the Live Wire. Yeah. Now that we were just talking about it.
Yeah.
I remember that was like my first
like the open mic
show.
Or like a show?
No, it was a show with our buddies, the Powers, Mitchell Powers, and
I know Mitchell. Yeah, nice guy.
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. I can't remember. We had met when I played a Terrapin like gig for the what's the bug class? Entomology at Terrapin. They had like
I like how he got close and whispered
everywhere.
And when at this point do you meet Elijah? I'm sure somewhere in here, right?
So we start. This is like
I have a funny story about.
Just keep talking.
We got a lot of Elijah to speak to. It's the day the well-kept extended universe was
began.
But started playing in Jester. Because I actually played baseball on this travel baseball team with Andrew Wilson.
Okay, the other singer, right?
Singer,
Play
yeah.
guitar.
And so we kind of had been like, oh, hey, we're both going to UGA. Like, let's jam kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we ended up being on the same floor at Cresswell. And then we started kind of like hanging out and like playing with each other just like randomly. Just kind of like knew we were like had said that and we're like, oh, we should like do this sometime, and never really got to it. But then at the end of the year, he called me. He's like, hey, I want to like meet with you. Yeah. And he was always like super had it all together, just like, hey, this is what I want to do. Yeah. This is how we're going to do it. Kind of thing.
Have somebody like that around.
It was very, he was very super driven starting it up, which was a very cool. It wasn't just like, we didn't just like start jamming and then like, hey, where we kind of been. It was like, hey man, I've got these like, I want you, and like I got these two other guys that I know. I knew Hayden, the bassist, as well, just through hanging on Cresswell, and then his buddy Clay, who played drums, and he's like, yo, these are like the best guys I have right now. And I was like, he's like, I want you to join. I want to like just get together every day this summer and like let's just see what happens and see if this is like, because we had jammed before and it was like the chemistry was great and it was like very fun, and so we kind of got together all summer and wrote.
That's awesome. That's a great origin story right there.
Yeah, it was great, and Jester was super cool. We played a lot of awesome shows and like was super great. For
you guys were tearing it up, man. You were one of the biggest bands in Athens at one point, right?
Who knows, man? It was cool. We played a couple sold out shows and like we're kind of like in the same wave of AFTM. So we got
40
to
watt.
40 watt. So we did that We did a couple shows of 40 watt, which was super cool.
The one that was Jester and AFTM sold out at the 40 watt was the one where I was like, I had seen y'all play like once. We had like played a show together,
right?
And I just like went because I was like, all right, let's check this out. Yeah. And I went and I was just like, oh my god,
I was there. That was a great show.
Oh, this is a totally different animal than what I thought.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was. Jester was like, man, I learned so much from just doing that and like being in a working band who like made a lot of money and like a lot of money.
Did well.
We made.
You guys had a name, dude. You guys, funny enough, you guys were like one of the first bands in Athens I ever went to see. Like,
dude, that's
I was
cool.
like a freshman. I saw you. It was 40 watt, I think, the first time.
Right on, man.
I remember thinking it was kind of funny that you kept your keys on your belt. You know what I'm talking about? And he had the keys in his wallet and he was jumping around out there.
That's funny, yeah.
And I was just like, man, I love this like alt rocky kind of like 90s rock vibe, but like you guys had your own thing going, 2 singers, everybody was jumping around. I'm super into that.
We had a really cool like just group of like homies and like that started out to be homies, and I'd like to think they became like actual fans because like everybody was really saying the words, and like that was a cool like to have people like you
guys were strong. I wonder
take in your music and like really run with it.
Yeah, like you guys were. Let's see, you did 40 watt twice. You guys played a good run, didn't you? Like toured a little bit.
We would do like weekend runs.
Yeah.
We like played in Nashville. We played in Baton Rouge once with our friends, the Revelries.
They opened for you guys at 40 watt, right?
Yes, yeah.
They're so good, man.
Yes, dude.
I remember they were just playing. I was like, who the fuck is this, man?
I need to give you his number.
I hollered at him.
They're the nicest guys.
Yeah, they're so nice. Like, God, what's his name? Bo?
Bo, yeah.
I was literally on TikTok and he was live streaming. I was like, hey, dude, come on the podcast. He's like, dude, when and where? I'll be there.
Yeah, they're like the nicest dudes.
So nice, man. Yeah.
But yeah, so playing with Jester and then kind of was great and definitely got chops and like met so many awesome people at venues and like just other bands and just like learned like how to be in a recording studio and like make music and stuff and like divvy up money in a band fund and stuff. And
do you look back on those days fondly, or is it like kind of like a sore spot?
Absolutely fondly. Absolutely fondly. Yeah.
Word.
So like we never like it wasn't like a breakup. It was just kind of like a hey, Andrew was just kind of decided he's like he wanted to go finish school and like music wasn't really the thing for him at that time, and at that point I had started playing with Elijah and like kind of writing like well kept songs, and so I was kind of like a little bit we're at a point where we're like everyone's kind of graduating, and we need to decide, are we gonna like go full
so it's like a natural ending kind of thing.
And so it was kind of like it was even clear at that time that it wasn't like the way how serious we had to take it. It wasn't living up to that, so it was just it was very mature, and like I like love those guys more than I ever have after.
That's pretty rare, man.
After that, like I felt we were like that was the closest and on the same page we all had ever been, because we were just like it just like wasn't it just this right now is not what person A or B needs, and we're just gonna like let's just like go play AthFest and call it off, and we'll come back if we ever need to, and we did for Jam for Cam and stuff, and like hopefully we will again. I don't know, I haven't seen those boys in a while, but we keep up. And
word, man. Well, that's pretty damn rare. Like cool. Most bands, it's like there's at least some sore feelings. So was there a little bit of like, man, like we just built all that, you know what I mean? Like, can we do this again, kind of thing? Because your last show was what, the theater?
Dude, it was
AthFest, right?
AthFest, yeah.
That's pretty big, man. You know what I'm saying?
It definitely, it's always scary. Like it's less so. It was kind of. It felt almost like such a nice release because it was definitely stressful at the time. It's just the family, and you're like trying to get everybody on the same page, and like we knowing how hard we need to work, and like this like being a bigger band, in reality, it's like we're nobodies and like we need to work so dang hard, like, okay, we've seen in our little group of friends that we can like put on a good show and like people like our songs. So now like we gotta do what we need to do.
Expand upon.
And it was kind of clear that some, just like no, not everybody had that headspace, and so it was a good release when it was like, hey, hearing it like this is not like from those who said it, just like hearing it like, hey, maybe I'm holding you guys back, maybe we shouldn't do this kind of thing. And so that was very nice, but nice to kind of work through with them and like so it was a bummer. Of course it was like, it was always so fun playing with them, and the songs are great, and but it was kind of like that stress of like we're like we gotta keep much. Going.
It's a lot.
Was nice to get rid of, but when starting Well Kept, and it was definitely like, oh, I got to go play in front of like 6 people again.
Which back to the beginning,
which was in a way really fun and cool, and in a way
no pressure.
Terrifying. But it was also cool. Like in the meantime, I met Elijah we were playing at church. We were playing worship at church with our then guitarist Chase Garrett was running sound, and our good
Bushy
buddy,
Beard Man, right?
Bushy Beard Man. Our buddy Hampton P, who like plays everything on all of our stuff, keys and drums.
He was the drummer.
I think he played Shaker one time when I saw you.
He'll do anything.
Yeah, we put that guy to the ring.
Anything.
But so I had met Elijah there and heard that he had music, and I remember when someone's like, "Hey, Elijah, congrats on your album," and it was like his iPhone GarageBand album. And I was like, oh, you have an album? And I went home and listened to it, and I was like, this is like genius. Like this is like, it's like Elliott Smith. Like I was like, because I had kind of gotten into recording, just like more so like demos and stuff. But like I was just like, whoa, like he chose to sound like this is like He's just like, nah, man, I just like memoed everything and like so, but kind of
not really an option
to
do anything else.
Kind of loved his songwriting and stuff from the get-go, and he played a show, and we always joke because it's the show he played the solo set at Caledonia with like some new songs, and that was the night like everyone in your band came up and like bullied you to like, hey, we're gonna play in your band.
I know. I think I told you that story when I was on, basically the time that I played solo, and Hampton was like, you need a drummer? And I was like, yeah. And Tommy was like, you need a bass player? And I was like, yeah. And Andrew was like, you need someone to produce these songs? I was like, yeah.
That's pretty rare too, man. That's awesome.
But it was funny, the time I first met Tommy was like the first week that I had lived, or that I first remember encountering. Meeting is maybe a strong word, but the first like week I lived in Athens, I had like already sort of like visited the place that we played worship together, the church, and what happened was Andrew Wong worked there, and he was like, come hang out with us at like a dinner. It's like all the people on the worship team, and I was like, oh, okay. So I went. I didn't know anybody, and I roll up, and I just remembered Chase was the first person I met, and I walked up, and he was talking about, I want to say I heard him like midway through a conversation about like the Hotelier or some sort of emo band with this guy John that was also on the team, and I was just like, oh, I know those bands, and he was like, oh, cool. And then I just remember there was somebody's car pulls up. It was probably your Jeep, and these 2 guys pop out, and someone goes, uh-oh, the Sig Eps are here. And it was Tommy and Brendan Abernathy jumped out of the van, walking up to hang out with us. I think it was probably Andrew that said that. Like,
that's funny.
Shout out Brendan.
And I just remember being like, who are these jabronis?
Yeah, man.
That's hilarious.
But and then it was really the next year that we all like
So you had met, you knew of each other kind of.
Right, yeah.
And then that was when he first heard the like iPhone music. He like, I was like walking to class or something, and I ran into the MLC, and he's like, hey, stop. And I was like, what? What did I do wrong? He's like, dude, what's up with this Elliott Smith music you're making? And I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, dude. But it kind of started, and then you were starting to record.
Yeah.
And then, or gear up to play shows and record full band, and so we started playing with him, and then that's kind of how that friend group all started, and that same band actually became the first version of Well Kept as well.
His band, is that what you mean?
So yeah, it's like this. It was literally the same people. We switched guitar and bass.
It was like, I remember that we played a show. It was actually opening for that last Light Brigade show, and it was like me, Tommy, and my brother, and then Hampton. We made him play the guitar, which was mean of us to do that. But after that night, I remember I looked at Chase. I think I looked at Chase that night, and I was like, "Do you maybe want to like play in our bands or something?" And he was like, "Yeah, like I'm there. I already know the songs." Like,
I'm there.
And he played the first couple Well Kept shows when we were billed as Tommy Trautwein of Jester.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I didn't realize that was a thing. I'd always wondered what made the name, like, why didn't you just go with your name? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
was it when you met, or you guys?
No, we kind of, so it was like the first show someone had asked Jester to open, and we couldn't for some reason. And then they're like, "Oh, cool. Would one of you guys just want to play solo?" Yeah. And then our manager at the time, Harrison, was like, "Hey, Tom, like, I know you've been working on songs, you know." And Harrison our buddy Harrison Fratkin managed Jester, really nice guy. I love that dude. And he was kind of pseudo managing Well Kept as we started, just like as like a, "Hey, I'm a homie, I believe in you" kind of thing. Yeah. He's out in Colorado now, but so he was like, "Hey, dude, would you want to play your original stuff?" And I was like, "Sure." And we just kind of threw together. And so, yeah, basically before we even it was kind of like cool. And then like Tommy Trautwein of Jester was like the bill name. So I think even seeing it like that, I was like, I don't want to like go under my
But
name.
Tommy Trautwein's such a cool name, though.
Dude, I think it's a better name for a baseball player than it is like a band. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm probably just in my own head about it. But also just kind of like always loved Elijah and I always like made like fake band names and stuff kind of going on. That's like how We Bought a Zoo Records came along. Just kind of like what's like funny, weird names.
We'll get to that.
But also, but also like, also I've always loved all the artists, a lot of artists I listen to are 1 to 2 people with under like a, whatever that.
So would you guys be considered a duo, or I assume not anymore, right?
No, I wouldn't.
No, it's basically like, it started as like it's my solo project, but now, it's like my solo project, and I've just like, in an attempt to beg a bunch of dudes to be in a band. so now I think it's feeling, because we kind of, and it feels like we've been doing it for a while, but it's really before COVID. It wasn't that long.
You guys haven't played many shows, have you?
Right, not so many. No, and so now at this point in time, we've got a lineup that feels pretty solid.
And what is that lineup? Just curious.
It's my buddy Blake Cole on drums, who has played with us for a good bit of time.
Word.
Our Hampton P is like on synth and keys and everything else, like we do. And then our newest addition is our friend Ian White on lead guitar. He's a bit older than us.
Dude, I think Ian is coming on the podcast.
Dude, no way.
Did he used to play in a band with Jeffrey Vernon and
No, I don't think so.
Maybe not.
He used to play in. He used to be in Wonderwild.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else. Different Ian.
Yeah. But his name's Ian White.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic player. And so we've been like, kind of making this new record that we've been working on for a while. And
what is he playing? Bass?
He's playing guitar. And then Elijah bass, I'm on other guitar kind of thing. So that's kind of,
that's like set right now?
It is the band. It's set for this fall and hopefully beyond. And
what's the plans for this fall? You guys going to play some shows or not?
We got some shows on the books that I don't think have been announced yet, but definitely got some shows coming up. We've got we're playing Athfest in September, which is exciting. I don't know if that's announced yet either. I don't care. But,
TBD.
But I saw Sienna of Monsoon announced her, so she's like, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but we're doing this. Like, so we've got that, and we've got a couple things in October, and trying to put together a little WBAZ Fest sometime this fall, winter.
That'd be so sick.
But mostly my head has been all year just producing for other people and also working on this. Elijah and I have been. That's the things like Well Kept is definitely a band. Definitely trying to be a band, trying to write more as a band and stuff. But in the studio, just because of geographically, it's usually mostly me doing like on the back end of things, or like mostly Elijah and I tracking everything kind of thing.
Interesting. So yeah, you're kind of like the driving force, kind of, right?
Yeah, basically. You know, it's never really been defined, and
maybe it's better that way.
It's kind of whoever's there. Hey, go do this, and I kind of love how it ends up.
Elijah, what did you think when you started like getting in the band? Were you like, this is going to take a lot of time, or like, oh, this would be awesome, or you know what I mean?
Honestly, when it all started, it was just sort of like the same. I mean, like we would practice the songs at the same time. Like
it felt like it was one big band.
We used to. I mean, there was a stretch of time when it was the original four, like the two of us, Chase and Hampton. Almost every show we played, it didn't matter like who it was. We would usually switch and do one. Like I cannot tell. We did like 4 or 5 Elijah Johnston shows where we would play Oh Charisse just because we were like that'd be funny. Let's play Oh Charisse. Like they want to hear, and like it happened so many times that like our friends were just like, yeah.
I knew Elijah song was sick.
We would go to Nucci's and we'd book an extra hour and then just split it half and half and be like, cool, we're done for the weekend.
Because I know I've seen you a couple times and I couldn't remember. I was trying to think of it yesterday. I was like, man, have I seen Well Kept? And I don't think I have. I think I've just seen you.
Yeah.
But it's relatively similar.
I think the thing is like, the other thing is like, when I got involved in it, it was very like, okay, here's these songs I wrote. Like, I guess you'll play bass or something when we do it live, or I don't, you know.
Yeah.
And it has been interesting how it's sort of like transformed. And I mean, like the nature of the beast is like no bands have been live, like haven't really been live bands in the normal sense for like a while now, or like not as routinely. And so like the first Well Kept record was just so like, we just we played them like 100 times live before we ever, or like we just played them so many times together. So like when we got to the studio, it was just sort of like an
knock it out.
That's what I'd wondered, if you guys tracked everything together, kind of thing.
Yeah,
or at least the drums.
At beginning,
first one we did drums and bass and some guitars
together.
Basically tracked them all live, or most, like probably 6 of the 8 live. And then like overdubbed here.
And it was
nice.
It was cool because like we had all played them enough times to like be really comfortable with arrangements.
That's always good.
Matt was like, you need to get even leaner and like get even more refined, and that was really like a fun challenge to take.
Matt Martin.
Yeah, I was about to say, he has a studio, right? Correct.
He does have a studio. He plays in Wonderwild.
Okay,
but we did that one at 1093.
We did that with Matt. We did 2 days at 1093 for the first record.
Yeah. So I took some notes on the record. I'm a big fan of the record.
Yeah, wow, dude, that's awesome.
Let me tell you some things I noted.
Yeah.
If you don't mind.
Dude, please, man.
First off, I remember when Good Thoughts came out, and I was like, oh, fuck, he's going to be fine. I was like, he's going to be good. This is going to be no problem here. I love that one, dude. The double vocals, the drum sample, like, it's like a good vibe, but like also sad lyrics kind of thing.
Dude, yeah.
Like every time I listen to it, I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about?
It's so good to hear someone say that, because, everyone's like, oh, that song's fun. Yeah. And I'm like, it is fun. That's kind of it was the vibe. I was kind of like, but it's
like happy music. Happy music, sad words kind of thing,
dude.
but like not in a bad way.
No,
I like the synth sound, whatever the synth sound is, and they're like hooked to.
It's so funny. I was just printing stems for that song for the boys to learn for rehearsal, and I was like, man, because like that was like back before I had even like recorded anybody.
Oh wow, that's really
myself,
early.
Literally, yeah. So I always recorded myself, just demos basically, and then it was kind of like Jester quit and I stopped playing, and Elijah and I were kind of just been like riding that wave of like okay, what am I gonna do today?
I'm free
with this musical energy, And so I had been working on this random song, because it would always just be doing demos, just and I remember I sent this one to Elijah, and Elijah's like, dude, this sounds great. Like, it's
like, this
done.
Done. Like,
and I'm like,
really? And which song was that?
That was Good Thoughts.
Oh, wow.
Because it was like a random demo that would never going to see the light of day, but Jester just ended, and I was kind of like, hey, like, what do you think of this? And it was, it was so simple, and like one synth, 2 guitars, drum machine, a bass, and like maybe one electric guitar.
I made him let me throw. The Panda Bear vocals on
and then Elijah came in and did a harmony.
Yeah.
And it was so nice to be like excited again about like, because Jester at the time was like becoming we had found our sound, which was awesome, but it wasn't totally my bag. And like songs I was writing, I'd have to really try to write Jester songs, and so that was kind of like where I kind of started knowing like, oh, maybe I need to like start doing another thing. And so this was like such a expression that I wrote it in like 10 minutes, that song, and kind of just as I was recording it. And then Elijah came in, did some harmonies, did like one like crappy microKORG synth line that like I love it so much too. Kind of wanted to sound like an old home recording, kind of like cassette boombox thing. And and like I mixed it and got it mastered. Matt actually mastered it too, and then I put it out, and I was like, it was such this weird. I put it out like on like Star Wars Day, May 4th, and I was like, dude, I was like, I was like, I want this picture, I want this date, and this is the mix, and I love it. And man. And like it was like working with a 4-person band. It's like artwork would take 2 months.
True.
And
everything's got to go through the process.
Right. And so this was like, I want this. Elijah's like, yeah, that's sick. And I'm like, I kind of like this. And
I might want to do this here.
It came out and people received it really well, because I was terrified that people were going to be like, this isn't Jester. Like, what?
It's easy to get in your head about that kind of stuff when nobody cares.
No one cares. No one cares.
Well, this is a fucking great song out of the gate. You did really great.
Man. Oh
Definitely
my gosh.
one of my favorites. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, man. And what was I going to note about it? I was going to say something else about it. I like the cover art, the picture, or the Polaroid, right?
It's in there. Before that was probably even the studio of me and my dogs, Yeah,
that's kind of the start of this whole thing, isn't it? I mean, it's like, we can record here.
That was the first.
This is it, right?
I think, I don't totally know. It's not under We Bought a Zoo. Like
in the credits at the bottom?
As like the CD baby, like what I was ever using at the time. But I think we consider that as WBAZ 01, unless Hotel Fiction...
Okay. Well, it's like kind of like
or was you
zeros. Yeah, technically the first one that's listed is me, but like Astronaut Kids.
So you're zero.
Well, it's kind of
Astronaut Kids
the books, the WBAZ books have been lost.
Like technically WBAZ, but
and right after I did that, I kind of had this like, I think I had that in my pocket. And was excited about it before I finished, and I saw Hotel Fiction play their first show. And I was like,
Caledonia, right?
I was feeling good. I was like, guys, I've got like this Focusrite. I would love to do like, I would love to make demos for you, basically, or like an acoustic song, like or whatever we can do. Like I would love, And they were like, we've got a bunch of songs, and that's how we kind of got working together. And so that was like the first other person I had ever recorded. And
quite the start, my man.
Gosh.
You guys are out of the gate with Good Thoughts and Astronaut Kids.
That song
Holy
just hit 1 million streams. And that was a trip.
Dude, that's crazy, man.
But yeah, so after we kind of did that, and then going into summer, Elijah and I had been talking. His EP had came out a bit earlier that year, and he had a bunch of songs, and we had been playing them live, and kind of just like, dude, like I was like, I'm gonna buy this 8-channel thing, and like let's just hang out here and like make something. And so that's kind of how I started recording people. But
that's awesome, man. That's quite the story. And then your record would be somewhere in
Strangers. We made Strangers
in like June, July, and then late July we started Well Kept in the meantime.
You guys have done a really good job of like making this, like, I hate to say click, but it's like not atmosphere, universe. Like you guys have like your own little like like everybody like all I have to be like, so I see somebody in your universe, I'm like, hey, Tommy, right?
They're like, see you, baby.
Yeah, Elijah coined the Well Kept extended universe.
The first show under the name Well Kept. Because after the first few of just being like Tommy Trautwein of Jester was opening for the Brook and the Bluff at the 40 Watt.
It's pretty big.
The night that the last Avengers movie came out.
Endgame.
And and so we sat there backstage being like, I really hope people come to this and don't just skip it to go see Avengers, because we were like, we kept joking about like maybe we should like rip a feed and like project it on the screen. We almost went and saw it that night, like after the show, and Cameron was like, let's go. Like Beach was playing it at 2 in the morning, and we were like, I mean, maybe But,
that's like the perfect example of like overthinking show stuff. You know what I mean? It's like, man, is everybody gonna come? It's Thursday afternoon at 6 p.m.
So we sat there and we compiled a list of everyone, because I mean that was also the night that like the 4 of us we're back there, and then like our buddy Jackson played with us on stage. He played synth and just sort of shook
He's
tambourine.
the
Yeah.
photographer.
Yeah, I'm aware of
he
that.
played
in there.
Yeah, he played shaker and tambourine the whole night, and then he played the synth solo in Good Thoughts.
Yeah.
But he was back there, and I think because he was back there, like we just invited like all of our friends. And so there's all these pictures of like 10 or 12 of us where like only 2 or 3 of us are actually in the band, and it's really sweet. And we just kept joking. We were like, yeah, like we're all in Well Kept. Like we're like a jam band.
Basically.
Well, you guys have the whole like universe, like the collective thing going on. You know what I mean? Like you're rotating the whole rotating lineup thing, and
I mean,
it's pretty cool, man. I'm jealous. I like it. It's pretty original kind of thing. Like you guys, like you all like play on bills together. You know what I'm saying? And like,
dude.
it's just you guys. Was that a conscious thing, or was it like, nah, these are my homies? Let's
kind
do
of
it.
just kind of fell in that way. Like it's especially with like WBAZ and stuff, and like everyone that like records here.
I've never heard
or,
anybody
like,
say that. Is that how y'all say it? WBAZ?
We call it
WBAZ?
WBAZ for short, just because it's hilarious. It sounds like an old like radio station. That's kind of why
WBAZ.
we when picking like, oh, what should like our record label be? Like our fake record label that we put all these songs out, when we were doing Strangers. And We Bought a Zoo Records was one, like Better Bowling something sounds, or like Mad at Dad Records or something like that. Like, just like literally like jokes.
I love it.
And We Bought a Zoo Records was one I had forever just because I was like, that's just hilarious. And Elijah's like, oh, dude, we got what bad. And we're like, okay, that's it.
There's like the jingle that's like 107.9 WBAZ.
Oh, I forgot about that.
We were gonna do this whole skit on my new album where I was gonna be like a radio host.
Oh, I forgot about that.
That'd be gold, man.
We'll have to make it for some purpose, but it's not on the record. But I honestly like at this point I sort of feel like when we do stuff that isn't with our like label friends, that's the thing that's a bit more like consciously chosen. Like I have to be like, oh, I need to book a show that isn't just the same band 3 times, so that like more people show up. You know what I mean? Because like we were, it's just you never want to fall into the trap of like just having the same like 40 homies.
The home field advantage kind of thing.
And it's also funny because like especially all the bands, a lot of them are solo acts, and so then naturally we all play for all the bands. So it's literally a 3-band bill. Yeah, we've done 3-band bills with.
I was about to say you guys did a little tour, right, with Zach?
We did,
and you did like
we did a couple full band shows and realized that it's just like Hampton and I played 3 times, and we're like but they were great. But yeah, it is So it definitely has just fallen into like it's cool because the music is different enough across everybody. So like even Elijah and Well Kept, it's different, and like all the other bands we play in, everyone's got their own style. So usually it's never been a problem, and it's been easy to put on shows that like people want to come see, and
that's very true, man. Because like even though you have like your own production sounds and whatnot, like none of you guys like sound exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? Like I would never like confuse like you guys' records. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah. It's cool, which I am. Which is
impressive.
How that like with the same people playing, it can be so diverse, and that's definitely
very cool. Yeah, and I've seen like you guys kind of like grown as producers too, like from Good Thoughts, like the first Hotel Fiction song to where Hotel Fiction is now. It's like a crazy jump.
Dude,
you know what I mean? Very impressive.
I know. It's amazing because like I never would called myself a producer like more than 2 years ago, which is crazy to think.
That is crazy.
But yeah, kind of just was like, hey, I had spent the money into some mics. I think like that mic was the first mic I got that was like worth a darn. I had like a nice cheaper but nicer condenser.
Yeah, that's the Strangers mic right there.
Yeah, this
I did vocal like
the Strangers
all
mic.
My vocals through it, like just walking around the living room.
Yeah, and look at you now talking into a 50s mic, just chilling, no big deal.
Yeah, so kind of like was just like we were just having so much fun, and it was like, oh, this sounds cool, and like all the music we listen to like a lot of the music we listen to is like made with a USB mic and like doesn't sound that good, and it's like, oh, that's why we like it,
Yeah.
So going with that in our back of mind, like we're invincible because it's like, oh, this
wrong.
mic sounds good, so it's like, hey, this is cool.
I hate
and
to say like lo-fi. It's not lo-fi.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, it's like
we definitely started in the mid-fi.
Yeah.
Mid-fi, and
it's a new genre.
We're still, it's definitely. I think like all like home studio, it's mid-fi stuff is awesome, and
this just kind of is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like
it is what it is. It's like learning how to from early on, like knowing that's like, hey, I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
Yeah,
let's capture the vibe of what the song needs to be.
This is more important, anyways, man.
And so But it's amazing how much you learn every time you sit down and like, man, what the heck was I doing yesterday? Like, why would I,
Yeah.
And so there's some things on like, there's some things on like the Astronaut Kids, that song, it sounds like an old like 70s soul record. And I'm like, how did I do this? Like, I don't know. And then I hear some things, I'm like, oh, I wish I'd done so much. There's always that. But then there's also like things like, oh man, the Stranger's bass tone. Like, what the heck? I wasn't trying at all. And now it's like I've got better gear, and it's like sometimes the more you have, it's like
more difficult.
More choices is always
interesting. See,
more
that's
difficult.
That's
sometimes.
what I think is interesting. I love stuff like that where like I think producing and like performing live and stuff. It's one of those things that you just do it. You know what I mean? Like you just get better by doing it. I guess it's anything, but you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I love just being like immersed in like producing or playing, and you just do it. And each time you're like, wow, I'm just getting better. Like without like. I don't have to sit down and read a book to get better. You know what I mean?
I definitely so like when COVID hit, we had made Well Kept's record, we had made Elijah's and Hotel Fiction's, like a couple good bit of songs of theirs.
The singles.
So it's kind of like, I was like, oh, I could, graduated EGA. I was like, oh, cool. I'll like to hopefully like tour all the time with the homies, with the bands, like because I played in all three of those too, and hopefully like kind of keep recording myself, and hopefully Elijah and Hotel Fiction just kind of have like a way to like make a couple bucks and also play live and do it whenever we're home from touring or whatever. And then we put out the record in February, play the show. We're like, all right, here we go. And then of course COVID happened,
tragic.
So when people started coming out of their houses and like being comfortable and stuff in like May or so, I was just like, yo, like
studio.
I like got nothing to do, and like if y'all have songs, like let's do it. And so like kind of like that's how I started recording.
So
like Zach
you weren't
and Aspen
like,
and
you weren't like, all right, let's start a studio. I'm going to charge $15 an hour.
No,
not at all.
Absolutely not. I was like, hey, I mean, I had a rate that I did for Elijah and Hotel Fiction, and I think I did a couple things here and there for other people, but was definitely not like I wasn't like advertising like, as a producer just because
you've done really well at it, man, because like
thank you, man.
You seem to be pretty damn busy, aren't you?
Oh dude, yeah. So it started in May, and like kind of did Jacob's whole record. We did like Aspen, did
Love it.
Our buddies in Bloomfield, did some Cannon in the Boxes stuff. Okay, Cannon was another band that I had started recording.
Yeah, I love Cannon.
In that original, before
he's in the group.
He's in the group before COVID.
Because I Only See the Stars came out like before the pandemic, didn't it?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think the singles did. It came out like in pandemic.
March. Yeah. Or,
soon after the pandemic, like it had started, which was like we were talking about, like, should we do this? We're like, yeah, dude. It was like one of the first homies that put out music. We're like, is this weird? But yeah, so like in May of 2020 and on, I like was booked through like the fall.
Wow.
Just of like homies being like, yeah, like let's, because everyone was like, yeah, I've got 7 songs, because everyone had been like chilling at home, like writing. And so that was when I kind of like
perfect timing,
really
honestly.
sat down. And I was also in the point where I was like, we just put out a Well Kept record. I do not want to hear my voice for a long time.
And then Zach really brought the crown jewel.
What's that?
I always just feel like June was like the thing of like the pandemic production, because it was like when I first heard one of the main mixes of the song Kids that Zach has, Zach Crook, for anyone who's listening and doesn't know what we're talking about. Like I knew like, oh, like I was kind of like at home still, and like we had like started some of the stuff for my record, and it was kind of in limbo. And Tommy's like, yeah, like Zach's up here like every day, like we're doing really cool stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just remember coming up here and being here at some point during that summer, and hearing Kids and getting so upset at how good it was that I left. I literally I didn't say bye, and I just got up and left, because it was like one of those moments
well, I guess
where
he doesn't like it.
It was one of those moments where I was like, I have to get so much better, because this is such a like kind of leveled up kind of recording. Like it sounds so good, and the song, like the arrangement was so insane, and like Zach had like sung his ass off, and I was just like,
it was definitely like it felt like that every project, where it was like especially that Zach had like, he had these artists he'd been listening to, and he's like, I really want to shift. And I was like, I don't totally know how to like,
he wanted to go somewhere that was like really
right. He wanted like 2 things to combine. It was like, okay, this is like going to take some effort, and also like something that he never he didn't know either. So it was kind of like, so we definitely, like, that record was like pushing ourselves with like just recording, not just like, all right, here's where you put the mics. It was like, oh no, let's try something weird and like, trust that, this doesn't sound like a, it's, I guess that record, Hampton P put it best way. He goes, Tom, I'm glad you spent all your life savings on these mics just so we can like put a $20 plug-in on them and make them sound awful, So, but that was a lot of that. It was a lot of like crafting.
What's that Zach
like
song I like? Is it June Kicked My Ass?
June
or
Kicked
something?
My Ass.
Dude,
That's
I like
a great
that
one.
I don't know Zach, but he seems like the coolest guy.
Dude, he's a funny dude. You
Really
guys
cool
would
guy.
you guys would get along. But yeah, it definitely felt that summer was like, okay, maybe I like can be a producer and like had started, just like, hey, if you wouldn't mind, we just made this album. Like, if you want to throw WBAZ Records under there, like, basically, it started as a way, and it's definitely is this. It's definitely not, I'm not like giving people $100,000 label advances, but it's just like, hey, like, I want you to be in this family. Yeah. Like, you put this on your music, people come to this catalog and see all of us. It helps us, and then I can, helps me with recording, and also it can help you. Hopefully, I'll just promote you on social media, and like, at the time there wasn't live shows and stuff, but like I definitely like want to do like, we're trying to plan like some splits in the fall, like kind of like do like actually label things with our gang.
It was funny. A buddy of ours saw me, or we were at work the other day, and he was like, "Dude, how's Tommy been? Is he really busy with all the label stuff?" And I just kind of like laughed. I was like, "I mean, he's busy, but like." He's not like shipping out packages
exactly
like,
right.
This is
right. It's still definitely like a and it was almost because Andrew had Bloom Sounds and like kind of that thing. It's like a way. It was kind of like a mix between a couple like producers like me who like all in one kind of thing. Yeah, I was just like I just like want something that's like it's almost like a sticker. That like can be, it's less like approval. Tommy did this, but it's more so like this is coming from this family, this universe. Word. And so like, and like I think that was like one of the best things I've done.
Yeah, I think that's genius.
What I tell, like someone's asked me like, what do you think is like the thing you did the best? And I think it was like starting like that, just in like feeling good about what we're doing here, just like it's gotten me more business because and like also helped our artists because people always come to me and they're like, hey, I found your catalog page and I listened to the whole thing, and I like people who would never listen to Can in the Boxes, like my mom, or like my Cannon? Cousins love, like they're listening to this like emo fast loud rock music and like, or like my buddy Blake Cole put out an instrumental record that is getting listened to because it's in this catalog, and so that was like what my first intention. I was like, maybe this could happen. Maybe it won't, but also worth the try. And it seems to be happening. And people are like, hey, I listen to your thing. I want whatever's going on here. I want to be in this gang.
That's genius, man. It's kind of like branding sort of thing.
It's almost like branding and like kind of like
a very genuine way of it.
It's a label / like family kind of thing, and we call it like the zoo, So hopefully going forward we can start, now that music's back, and start like, we had like this, we bought a zoo fest that we're trying to put together, and I want to be awesome. We'd love to do some Bandcamp like compilations and stuff, and like cover albums, just like splits and stuff. That's like my goal going forward the next year is.
I love that, man. It's like you're building something bigger, you know what I mean? Than just like you putting out solo records.
Right. And it's also, and like, it's, been very thankful that people, keep reaching out to me and wanting to record. And like, so it's like making me have to be like, all right, I got to keep,
step it up.
Getting better. It's like, I don't know, it's less like, hey, you're recording the homies now, like for cheap, like, let's just like have fun and make music. It's like, no, like, I don't know.
Does it ever get to like, are you like, man, I don't want to produce? You know what I mean?
No, it's never gotten to that because it's so exciting and like able to, we've been chipping away at this World Cup record for like about
there's another World Cup record.
Oh, dude, it's
how many songs are we looking at?
It's maybe
25. Like no.
It's like
12.
It's like 12.
The first record is what, 8? It's really not that long, right?
Yeah, no, it's
30
short,
minutes
short
maybe?
and sweet with like an instrumental. So it's like
dude, I forgot. I was freaking ranking the songs and I got lost.
Dude.
Or wasn't ranking.
Man, yeah.
Oh, Cerise is maybe the catchiest song you guys have ever done. I think.
We love that tune.
Cerise. When that shit happens, I'm singing it all day, man.
Dude, heck yeah.
And what else? I wrote some stuff. What's up with the hospital line, bro? I love it. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, though.
Hospital line.
All my friends are
this
in the
is a cool
hospital.
story.
Okay.
Is there a story? I'm just curious.
So shout out to the MBus gang.
Yeah.
We in first week of production, where I learned how to use Pro Tools with Tom Lewis, one of my best class ever took. Love Tom. He showed us this Bo Bedingfield song. It's called Springtime.
And all my friends are in the hospital because his daughter, the guy who wrote it, his daughter like did a drawing in kindergarten where she like drew her family members like with bandages on them, and her teacher was like, was like, "This is scary."
Yeah.
And Bo wrote that song the day she graduated med school.
Yeah.
So like they were like, your daughter's gonna probably be a serial killer or something. And he, that's probably not fun to hear as a parent. But then
she just wanted
to be a doctor.
As just a weird
deep meaning, bro. Damn.
So so I had not been so like floored by a song or like lyrics for a while, and a lot of my favorite bands will like kind of do that, like play off other lyrics and almost like a paying homage to. And so I kind of it meant something completely different to me when I in that song and Meantime and stuff. And
I love Meantime too.
Yeah, dude. That
I like the hi-hat on Cerise. That's clean, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You guys did a really good job on that record.
Thank you, man.
The clean guitar sound is like humongous.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like all clean. There's no distortion at all, really, is there? Maybe on IM.
It's more so like overdrive, like especially Cerise is the dirtiest one.
Yeah,
probably in listening, but it's all like 2000s emo, like clean jazz master, like almost like amp distortion,
amps,
type thing,
like not clean, but overdriven.
Because I've never been a crazy. I just never gotten in the world of. I never had like a distortion pedal.
Yeah,
I guess I do now. Our buddy Chase made us one, but it's kind of like that. That record is a good thing. That and Strangers, like it's good for me now to go back and be like, look, listen how simple this is. And like it's just
there's really not much going on. You know what I mean?
It's like this is the band.
Guitars.
Which is great that it's because it's so easy to be like, I produce records and I can put 50 million tracks on something.
It's too easy.
It's too easy, and sometimes that can ruin it. And so it's nice to kind of look back at those and be like, this really worked. Yeah. And it was simple, and like if that's always comes back to like if the song's good, it doesn't matter.
Word. I love both, but I go back and forth between like all the great like 60s and 70s, 80s records. Like there's not much going on, and they sound massive. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then like when I'm on my 6th drop D guitar track, I'm like, do I need this? You know what I mean?
You're like, it's
like,
not
why
enough.
am I here?
I need more.
Yeah, but like something like let's see, like Think Twice. There's a bunch of layers on there, isn't there?
Dude, Think Twice. Think Twice was like probably one track from like breaking my Mac laptop at the time. Like
how many are we looking at? 50 or?
Oh gosh, dude. We were well, that's the thing is even back then it felt like it was a million tracks, but it probably even wasn't that many. It was just like that was one. Hotel Fiction's so awesome because they are able to be like, oh, here's Final Mix 5.
Yeah.
And then a month later be like, we want to completely change everything, like the vibe, like because like we basically made
pretty much a different song.
We basically made that full record as a rock band album, like how you see them play live, kind of like I wasn't making any major like I hear you guys and you guys are gonna sound like producer kind of thing. I was just kind of like let's just like do it, y'all song, let's just make y'all song kind of the best it can be. In however, like the artist basically is also if they want to be is also like the producer as well.
Yeah,
here just because like
you kind of need to be.
I have very few times have I been like, we're gonna do this, But that song was like we made it sound. It was like all the parts were there. It was full. It was huge. It sounded really nice. And they were like, hey, we want to like get weird because it also we worked over such a long period of time that it just. That's what happens when you sit with your music. It's just like, hey, we're listening to new things now.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Yeah.
And so they didn't quite know. I didn't quite know. And it was kind of the same thing with like the Zach record, just trying. And like we had a lot of things that didn't work. And then we found like the avenue and just went down and got
Sounds
weird.
great,
and they were along for the ride. And
yeah. I'd love to hear this alternate mix. Let's get a drop on the
dude,
alternate mix.
That's the thing. It's like,
is it good?
It's great. It's just
you a fan of it still?
Yeah, I don't even remember it because it was. We also did 10 mixes of the next version, so it's it's
a little jazzier. Is how
it's just like, it's like the same parts beside minus a couple guitars, synths, and weird vocals. A
lot of sense.
It's basically just like basically like a rock. It's like if you saw them live, it sounded like that.
Interesting.
Kind of like pretty cut and dry,
the
like
Lost Mix.
Right, the Lost Mix, yeah. But yeah, so like it's but like that in that song being super intense and cooked felt great, Yeah. Whereas it's kind of that's always finding the balance of like what does it need, and like it could be like 2 tracks and
and then there was like the example of like one of my songs that we had to be like, I can't even hear anything anymore. There's too much going on.
We sliced.
We
got
to delete a bunch of guitars.
Yeah.
We got to take all these like filters off because it just doesn't even sound like a.
I love it when you're like, all right, let me mute this, and you mute it, and you can't even tell it's gone. It's like,
great,
wow, if I've been really straining on this.
I do love getting lost in the sauce and going for let's ride this wave.
Yeah.
Get anything down on tape on Pro Tools, and then the next day come back and be like, Nope. Get out of here. But because when you're riding that creative energy, like that's when the good stuff happens.
I'm in between on that too. Like a lot of times I like to like write it out all the way and be like, all right, where can this go? And then sometimes like, man, let's spend as little time on this as possible.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, absolutely. It's always different, and there's no right or wrong way.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited. I imagine we should wrap. Anybody know what time it is?
Dude,
quick. You got a session?
10:41. Yeah, dude, we're good. Buddy Blake's coming at 11.
Word. All right, let's do a little bit more and then we'll call
dude,
it. All right,
please.
You guys having fun?
Yeah, dude. This is so nice, man.
It's so much fun, man. You're good at this too, because like you like. I just need to let you talk. Like I need to shut the fuck up.
No, dude. Yeah, stocks. Yeah.
No.
What were we talking about last time? Elijah, coffee and stocks.
We talked about
and what?
coffee and crypto.
Crypto.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are the days.
Dude, well, it's also been
and crypto coins.
Write it down.
It's like that Father Thomas.
Yeah. Very cool to see that your tunes are coming out, because that was one of the first kind of playing bass on your songs was like one of the first like in COVID like
projects.
Hey, like I'll start recording for.
I didn't realize that. I thought you were well into it.
I definitely was well into it in terms of like a lot. Had those like the 4 or 5 bands that I was making, but like even just working as like remote, like recording people, I was definitely like doing the thing. But it is just cool to hear those coming out. And
did you get to listen to them?
I have, yeah. And it's funny. I even like the other day. I think you used them on like a promo vid.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, there it is. I was like, I could just like tell like my moves. I was like, there I am.
I remember that it did not take you many times. Like I don't think it ever took us more than twice. I was like, this motherfucker can play.
Oh man, dude. I mean, it was definitely so
great
fun
sound quality too, man. I was like, there's no way I'm be able to match this. So I'm gonna just get my man to do it. But
no, dude, it was so.
We did a bunch of songs together. You remember that? They're coming out soon.
I know.
Just a little sneak peek.
That's what's exciting to hear that.
Do you like having like your fingerprints on a bunch of records? Like surely you're up in the high 50s now, right?
I mean,
on like songs.
Dude, WBAZ Records probably has over 100 something songs out, which is crazy. Over 20 plus artists. Yeah. So that's like freaking. That's like a
awesome.
Trip and a half. But yeah, dude, I don't know. I've always been the only advice I ever really got that, not the only advice, or some advice that I got that has really helped is like, dude, be around.
Yeah.
If you want to do this. Yeah, you're gonna go to that session. So, hey, my buddy's recording. Like, go. Like, just like, if this is what you want to be or be around and do in your whole life, just freaking do it. And
that's
like,
kind of like the secret to the music industry, isn't it?
Right.
Just like be there, kind of thing. Like,
right. And so, like, and sometimes you get lucky. Like, I feel like because I was trying to do that, and like, we made our Elijah's EP first EP or first mid-fi EP at Andrew Bloom's. Bloom's place, and that was like the first time I was like, okay, I like got to know Andrew and like became good buddies, and like I was always texting him like, hey, if you need coffee, you need this, and I had been interning at Chase Park too, so like knew the intern hustle, and also loved it. I was like, there's nothing else I want to be doing, and Jester stopped playing, so it was like
that's very rare,
I kind of just like want to be around, and also I just want to play live with all these bands, and I think one of the first ones I did was like, or like we did your EP, and then like I like helped like co-produce Brendan Abernathy's stuff with Andrew, which was such a different but cool thing, and it's done really well.
Gosh, he has one song that you play bass on that's just so
You
gnarly.
Are Loved, dude.
Yeah, the bass on that
that's
song
my
is
favorite
wicked,
thing.
bro.
But dude, I guess that was one of the new ones, but the first one where I was like product of like being around, and it felt like I like won, or like I was like I got one like score for Tom was when I did that Zach Crook Not There For You riff. Because I was like, I had been practicing their live band. I was like, Zach, I've got a riff for you, like kind of thing, and it just kind of like was like I don't know. I really am stoked about it, and just like a simple like weird like volume swell, and I don't know, just kind of like doing that. But I say that one specifically because people ask me to play guitar on their stuff because of like they're like, oh dude, you wrote like
it's like every little thing you does just gets you to the next thing. You know what I mean?
Exactly, really cool. And I don't think there's I love being stretched too thin. I sometimes need to stop, but especially
you turn any sessions down these days, or
I have never turned a session down.
Wow.
It's a lot of the times things that don't work out. It's like nowadays, like, which is very cool, and it's when I'm like, hey, like, yeah, cool. Are you good for August? It's like, oh, we got to do. It's like sometimes it just like because been booked up, and
that's a good problem to have.
Cool. Yeah, it's like very cool, and but yeah, like it's like been only working with like homies, and it's been haven't really only worked with a couple strangers, and now I've got a couple strangers to me now booked up that have like found the catalog and like or like, hey, I want to,
That's awesome.
And so I'm excited to.
That's priceless, man. You're building something bigger than just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Just like solo work, you know what I mean?
But yeah,
so that's great. So to close it out, you got a great time. My tummy's growling. I'm sure you can hear that through the mic.
Dude, no worries, dude.
You guys got that snack in before, you smart guys.
Oh yeah, we had some McDonald's before this.
So let's see. I'll give you 2 questions to end with. All right, number 1 for both of you.
All right.
Favorite Jester song and favorite Well Kept song.
Wow.
And favorite Elijah Johnson song. I want to know all 3.
Dude, yeah.
This is tough.
Favorite Jester tune for me, man. I always loved Not Coming Home. That was one of the first ones that Andrew and I wrote together.
Yeah.
And it's just like a ripping rocker. But probably that song "Rollin'."
Dude, I love it. That was mine. Nice.
That is like Andrew is such a great
you don't sing on that
songwriter.
one, do you?
I sing some harmonies or something, but Andrew is such a great songwriter, and that one, like playing that live was electric. And
yeah, it's only like 3 minutes. That was my favorite.
Yeah, dude, that recording. I listened to the recording the other day, and I was like, oh wow, like it was such a trip. But like I remember playing that one live, and that was always the one that was like felt like a release.
Are you kind of surprised that See You Tomorrow is the highest stream by like so much?
Dude,
like,
oh my gosh, I mean, See You Tomorrow is why I'm surprised. And this is why Andrew's great too for spotting this. That was on my SoundCloud from 10th grade. I think 10th grade in high school. A
demo of it?
Literally a demo that I made in my buddy's basement.
Dang, I want to hear this.
Oh gosh, no, I shouldn't have said that.
Come on now.
Now I'm going to delete this right after. No, but Andrew went through, because I sent him my SoundCloud when we first started hanging out, and he went through and he's like, dude, this one. I'm like, no, like what? I heard that so long. It's not that I don't like it. It's like I heard that so long ago. You know, it's like he's like, no, dude, I think we should do this one. It's catchy as heck. And I was like, all right. And we kind of put our own spin on it, and it came out great, and it was super fun. And
1 million streams later.
Yeah, dude, it's so it's funny to me because that song was written so long ago. It feels like someone else wrote it, kind of thing.
Word.
And it's so different than like what I like listen to or like right now that it's like feels. It's weird at some spot, but then also, it's like playing that one live. Like people freaking loved that one, and it was like
that was the closer, right? If I remember correctly,
usually the closer, and See You Tomorrow, dude. I'm so happy that people love it, and like,
you guys still have a shit ton of listeners.
Dude, I know, man.
I was looking at it the other day. I was like, damn, there's still people listening.
It's crazy. Yeah, I know. And so now all you listeners can go over to Well Kept and listen.
Transplants.
Yeah.
How about you?
All right.
Jester tune.
My favorite Jester song is probably Slip Back. That was always my
Ooh,
go-to.
deep cut.
Because
Nice.
I remember hearing that. I remember the first time I heard a Jester song, I was sort of like, I don't really get what's going on here. And then I put on Slip Back, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. These dudes like Mac DeMarco. Like, I was like, these guys like all the same stuff I do.
I like Helicopter too.
Helicopter's
Helicopter's
cool,
a good
man.
song.
Helicopter's that's
Yeah,
also another
Slip Back is the tune.
sad one.
The tune. I like it. Good answer.
Yeah.
All right. Favorite well kept song.
Oh,
it's tough.
dude, man. Definitely. I just think because of probably just production and just like the way it came to be. Definitely Settling.
Really?
I think that
Nice.
one.
That was a single, correct?
That was a single, and that was like first one I had written that I liked. Like first one that came, one that came to life from COVID. Like I've been kind of writing, but that one I just sat down and like did it, recorded basically all of it, minus some things from like midnight to 5 a.m.
Word.
And like
So
was
one
an
day you wrote it?
expression. I wrote it the night before. Like it was a bunch of verses, and I was like, "What the heck is this?" Like kind of scared of like, "Oh, I just said all this crap." Like, oh boy. And then tried, went in there and just hashed something out, and like it just came out so nice and soft, and like really was what I needed to say at that time, and what I've been trying to say for a long time. And that one felt really good. And then like the next day, Elijah came over and like did like a guitar part, and then like our buddy Jacob played piano on it, and it was like done. And it was like, man, it was like kind of the thing. Like I had to put it out because I was like, this beast is like, it scares me how like.
I have this theory that like all the great songs happen really fast. Like they just appear. Like you said,
Definitely.
Good Thoughts, you wrote it in what, 10 minutes?
Yeah. Mostly all the ones that came about were
It's like they just
that.
appear, man.
Right.
It's weird.
And so that was probably my
Favorite well-kept song, Elijah?
Probably Red Light.
Really? Nice one.
Playing it
Singles
live
well.
is just like,
Heck yeah.
there were just times where we played that one live that I was just like, I'm about to start floating. Like when it just gets like the very end.
That was one of the ones that I was
really
least familiar with, but I saw it was like trending on your Spotify. It was up
really?
like top
Yeah.
2. I was like, damn.
Dude, that one was when we had been playing live, and then finally got around to recording it, and I feel like we captured the energy pretty well. But yeah, like doing that live felt like we were gonna like.
Sounds great. I like the cover art on all those, like the little like can't tell what it is kind of thing.
For sure, dude.
Yeah, I think my favorite is either Good Thoughts or Ocerise.
Dude.
I'd probably go Good Thoughts. I just like that one,
Wow,
man.
dude, I'm so happy that you hear that because I
Yeah.
love that song. And
But Ocerise is catchy, man.
Dude, Ocerise rips.
Like as soon as like the first time you say Ocerise, going to get some groceries or whatever, I'm like, all right, I know what this is about. Like I feel like I know what it is.
Yeah, dude.
I probably don't, but you know what I mean.
dude, you probably know more than I do.
Yeah,
that's
man.
that's the goal. It's like I don't know. It's I love that one too. It's like so kind of another happy sad one. You know?
Yeah.
But-
you do that well, man.
Thank you, man.
Or you guys.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, all right. Last question. I'm going to let you guys go. You got a session to get to.
Elijah song. Well,
Ooh,
hold on.
yeah, I forgot.
Real quick. Elijah song. Dang it. I can't do it real quick. I might say Christmas Lights, dude. Because because he had an iPhone demo, that one, in one of his records. And that one, I remember I really, really liked.
Vamped it up.
That but there's one on the new record called Hornet's Nest that's gonna blow y'all's mind.
My favorite.
So-
Unreleased?
My favorite. Yeah.
Damn,
I wanna hear it.
Scratch all of that. There's one on the new record called Bet the House. That was one that he wrote, and he's like, "Hey, I just wrote this," and we're done with the record basically, and we're like, "No," me and Elijah's brother and our buddy Drew were like, "No, you're recording this right
And
now."
I was like, okay, I'll record it. Here's this arrangement. It's like really simple. And they were like, no. And it just like kind of got away from me. And every Chase told me the other day it's his favorite.
Dude, it's
He was like, that's the
awesome.
one you were.
I want to get the private link on this
It's,
one, bro.
dude,
Come
it's a
on.
nutty
we'll
song.
get you.
Let me
We just
see
got
it.
the masters back 2 days ago. So
Are you referring to Drew Beskin when you said Drew?
Yeah,
I can't believe we
dude.
haven't talked about Drew yet. I love Drew.
dude.
Are you guys going to see Drew on Friday?
yes.
Dude, definitely.
We are, none of us or our homies would be anywhere
We would be
or
doing
be as
nothing
confident
without Drew.
or anything without our best friend and well-kept manager,
Yes.
Drew Beskin.
He keeps
Let the record be
he keeps
shown.
the feet on the ground, right?
Dude, he just is the biggest hype man and
Yeah.
supporter and dad.
Such a
of
nice
our-
guy, yeah.
And he's also one of our favorite songwriters. Like,
Dude, I'm loving his
literally.
record, man.
All right,
You
favorite
guys
Drew,
played
favorite
all
Drew
those,
Beskin
right?
song.
Ooh.
Dude,
Dakota My
Dipper.
Jib for me.
Double Dipper, dude. I
No,
gotta say-
Atlantic.
Atlantic is
Atlantic
awesome.
is good, yeah.
Dude, often, oh gosh.
I'd
dude,
say
I
the
can't-
Cut on My Jib. I love that one.
Cut on My Jib is
that's a
awesome.
banger, yeah.
I kind of because of Atlantic, I got into genuine article.
Genuine article.
Genuine article.
Genuine article.
That's how he said it. It's so good. Yeah, his new record that he just put out is freaking awesome. And
Word, man.
we've been making another one here in like while it's been releasing, and so that one is really cool too. Man. So it'll hopefully be done this summer.
Well, that was awesome, man. This is a great podcast. I got to let you get to your session now. Thank you all for watching. Everybody go check out Drew's record.
Yes.
Yes.
Go check out Drew Beskin. Go see him at Southern Brewing Company on Friday. Is that right?
We will be there raging.
Tell the people where to find all your stuff. Tell them your Instagram handles, everything.
Yeah, we're well kept. Our Instagram is @pterodactyltom. We're on Spotify, Apple Music, all that good stuff, Bandcamp. We got a record coming out very soon. Yeah. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that. Hopefully it'll be done very soon, but got some singles on the way, and we're playing some shows this fall in Athens and beyond. We just put out a record in February that is available to listen and that we still really love and are excited to hopefully get to play some songs for now because we didn't get a chance because of COVID. But yeah, thanks so much. WBAZ Records.
Out. Sorry, I didn't have more Elijah questions. I was prepared for just you.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Did you have a good time, my man?
Yeah.
Thank you guys all for watching. This has been the Jameson on the Rocks podcast, episode 40, I believe. Awesome. Thank you guys. Thanks for making it happen. Yeah, thanks for having me. I love getting out of the studio. This is awesome.
Yeah, dude. Field trip.
We bought a zoo, baby. See y'all later.
Yeah. All right, man.
Beautiful.
Heck yeah.
Hello, we're well kept. Thanks for watching Jameson on the Rocks.
And I'm just trying to make